Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to Sheltered Sages, the podcast where two formerly sheltered homeschoolers take a look at the crazy world that we live in. One messy Reddit story at a time. I am Andrew.
And I am Philip. You had that. That was really nice.
So close. I'll get it. Yeah, but anyways, thank you so much for joining us again, everyone. We are really excited to do this next episode with you all. I don't really think there's too much of a spiel other than we just kind of go over what the theme is for this week.
Absolutely. So the theme is very serious today.
Oh, yes.
Specifically because we wanted to tell you that this podcast is going in a different direction.
Absolutely.
April Fools. I mean, I guess it's the day after April
That was
Fools.
really cringe. But yes, we're going to talk about pranks because obviously nothing bad ever happens from a prank, and they're all so good intentioned. There we go.
I personally don't like pranks. They frustrate me in a lot of ways. It's only because we make fun of people sometimes lying to other people about it.
Yeah.
There are some pranks that are really funny. Like Google does a thing, I think, every year where they come out with like a prank thing online during April Fools, and some bigger companies do fun stuff.
I don't know. I'm sick and tired because it's like, it was funny the first time, and now it's just, we see it every year and we're just like, okay, all right. Yeah,
they're coming out with something else.
It's like, oh, we're finally releasing Half-Life 3. No, we're not. It's April Fools. Don't do this to me.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
That said, we're going to talk through some crazy pranks today.
Yeah.
Hopefully none of you who are listening or watching right now have gotten any of those crazy pranks.
Yeah, well, we'll certainly find out. And I'm sure we're not going to talk about any crazy pranks that we've pulled. But just a quick reminder of how we do things. We read from a few subreddits along the episode. But one of our primary ones that we read from is known as Am I the A-hole? Which we don't like saying it over and over. So from here on out, any A-holes will be classified as picklefoot or pickle feet, depending on if there's multiple A-holes, which might happen in one of my stories.
That's the plural, is the pickle feet
of it? Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah, it's a really good homeschool insult,
really
as we've said before. So yes.
Feel free to use it in your daily life.
Absolutely.
But without further ado, I suggest we start the episode.
Now?
Oh, I was going to say that was a prank.
Oh.
But we can start now. Fun. So,
all right.
I hijacked last week, but I'm going to take them back as we have been going. So I'm going to start with something I think a little bit simple and fun for the first one, but I have a really serious one for the last one. So I'm really excited about that. I say excited. That's not the right word, but I'm very interested to see your reactions to that. So,
fair.
For my first story, am I the picklefoot for pranking my sister on her birthday after my dad asked me to?
Depends on what the prank is, but let's get more information.
Yeah. Well, it was my 20 male sister's 19 female 19th birthday. So I was back from college for the day, and my dad has this idea to have a bit of humor by incorporating a prank during her cake cutting. He secretly asked me to smear a slice of apple pie on her face, and he also got my brother, 15 male, involved, asking him to do the same thing to my sister during the cake cutting ceremony on her other side of the face. So two brothers, side to side, smearing apple pie on her face as she's cutting her cake.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, because this isn't going to end badly at all.
Yeah.
He also asked us not to tell our mom about it, since she would shut the idea down as soon as she heard it. We thought it would be lighthearted, funny gesture to make the celebration memorable. However, when the moment arrived, my sister was bent down blowing out candles, and then we pounced and used our hands to wipe apple pie filling and crust throughout her face. She didn't take it well at all. She ended up in tears and very visibly upset by the prank.
Yeah, and covered in apple pie.
Yeah, not a fun place to be. My dad, brother, and I didn't expect her to react this way, and I feel genuinely bad about it now. In retrospect, I'm questioning whether I should have gauged her comfort level with such a prank beforehand, or if I should have opted out of the plan altogether. After my dad admitted to my mom about the plan, she was ticked off at me, dad, and my bro. My sister has been really upset and only talks to our mom now and pretends like we three do not exist, even though we tried apologizing. Although I think she sometimes talks to our brother. Am I the picklefoot?
I mean, this is a lot easier to say. I guess, yes, in some ways, he is the picklefoot. But, so pranks, there's like a spectrum to pranks, right? There's like the fun sort of white lie prank where you go, hey, something's happening on this day and it's not actual, or Red Dead Redemption, the next version of it is coming out and it's like, it's not. There's those fun, easy ways of going over, and it's like, I tricked you.
It doesn't really hurt anyone.
No,
in the end of the day,
absolutely.
yeah.
Like, you're not going to do anything based off of that information. You might tell another friend, and then you feel silly later on when you realize that someone lied to you in a way or pranked you on it. It's easy. Then there's like the physical pranks, which I always feel weird about physically pranking someone else. So like tripping someone or a pie in the face, something like that. It's like, in a way, it is funny if everyone's in on it. But like, if someone said, oh, yeah, I'm going to punch you when you're walking past me as a prank, that hurts. And just because you say it's a prank doesn't mean it doesn't hurt me or it's funny.
Well, it reminds me of those people that are like, oh, it was just a joke.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but you did something really mean and hurtful.
Yeah.
That's not funny.
No.
Like just because you try and classify it as funny doesn't make it okay.
No.
And it's the same thing with a prank, especially food-related pranks. Okay, so I had never been pied in the face before until this past Christmas. We were having our school Christmas party at the Taekwondo school, and we were doing a canned food drive for the local, like, the charity that, I don't remember the name of the charity. I think it's like one of the local ones that hands out canned food and delivers presents and things like that to the kids on Christmas. So in order to incentivize it, we had encouraged the kids, like, every 50 cans that you bring in, you'll get to pie a different leader in the face.
Okay.
As like a reward. So all that to be said, my number, I think it was like number 2 on the list because I'm like the short man on the totem pole. Hierarchy speaking, I'm probably one of the tallest one there, but hierarchy speaking. But anyways, so day comes, I get there and it's like, it's not like an actual pie, but it's like they do the whipped cream on the plate and slap. Let me tell you, that was one of the most physically uncomfortable things that has ever happened. And like, I already have issues with like textures and things like that. So having a like whipped cream slammed into my face consensually was really weird.
It's horrible.
But like, I can't even imagine like apple pie with like crust and things like it's like, oh, on my face. No, just
it's not great.
It's not great.
And also, like, she didn't know it was going to happen, right? This is her 19th birthday party. I don't know who was there or what was going on, but I'm thinking if you're turning 19 and you have all your friends and family there, you're wearing nice makeup, you probably have a good outfit on, you're looking to be impressive because, you know, you're growing into yourself and doing things like that, and then someone goes over and smudges pie into your face. Not even your cake. That's the other part too. Like, I've seen people before who do the fun thing of like they take your birthday cake and smash it into your face.
Yeah, don't do that.
I don't like that either.
I've seen horror things of where like people like would take it and slam the face in, except that like there are candles in the birthday cake, and so don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I think there's a time and a place for pranks.
Yeah.
I just, during celebrations where it's like about someone else, trying to take that from them is just a lot.
Yeah.
And like, I really don't like because like I agree with you. I think that OP is definitely the picklefoot in the situation, but the bigger picklefoot is the dad.
Dad is the bigger picklefoot. I wanted to talk about that as well, but go ahead. Yeah.
Well, the orchestration of it, like he was the one who was like, "We're gonna do this. You two are gonna." Notice that the dad didn't actually do anything in the prank. He made the 2 boys do it.
Yep.
And on top of all that, he's like, "Don't tell mom."
Yeah. Which is weird. It also makes me think, and I'm reading a little bit further into this, but it's like if the dad came up with this, but decided he wasn't going to enact the prank, it could be because dad has already done enough pranks that sister knows now to not trust him. But she still trusts her brothers. And so they can get close enough to her while she's like, maybe dad did the cake thing before where he smushed into her face so many times. Now she's like, whenever I'm blowing out the candles, dad is not allowed near me. Yeah. Which is another part of it too. It's like, if you do enough pranks that now you're not trusted by the people that you care about, it's like, is it worth it? Maybe you get a little bit of a laugh out of it, but it's like your daughter doesn't want you near her during her birthday party. That's not good. And now she's not talking to her brothers.
Yeah.
For that same reason.
Yep. And I'm going to actually segue into the comments because someone actually made a very interesting comment similar around that vein. Given that you were raised by the father who engineered this awful prank, it's no wonder that you and your brother thought that smearing your sister's face with pie as she bent down to blow out her birthday candles would be a lighthearted, funny gesture. But it's not. And your dad absolutely knew this, or he wouldn't have insisted it be kept secret from your more mature and sensible mother. But he didn't care. You are 20. It's time for you to start looking around and paying attention to what people do and do not enjoy, what hurts their feelings and what genuinely amuses them. The fact that you are confused by your sister's reaction tells me that your father's very childish, borderline cruel streak that he thinks of as humor has left you without much sense of how pranks and other behaviors you have an effect on the people you victimize.
Yeah.
And so they go on a little bit more, but it's like there are some people who enjoy it, but the reality is pranks have to be mutual.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, like in terms of pranks that I did as kids that did not go well and were really bad. I think I was like 8 or 9, and we started getting into like realizing what pranks were and how they could be fun. So we started with simple ones like, like putting salt in someone's water or something simple that would just be like and then like you pour it out. But it was getting close to April Fool's, and I remember, and like we talk about this sometimes, and I'm disappointed in my younger self, but we all do things that we're regretting. And so we had 2 dogs. We had the service animal I talked about before, Lena. She was a black lab. And then we also had Sugar, was this little Shih Tzu puppy that we had. She was like 2 years old. But in comparison to a black lab, super tiny dog.
Yeah, she was small dog.
Small dog. April Fools, we would let them out into the backyard every day to go to the bathroom and things like that. But we had a fence, right? And then like a gate to the fence on the side of the house. Well, I thought, because I was brilliant, that I was going to take the dogs, and thankfully it wasn't hot out or anything like that, but I took the dogs, I put them into our shed that was in the back. And then, I know, it's terrible. I'm not proud of this. I want to preface this by saying, very disappointed in younger Andrew.
Okay.
And then I opened up the gate in the back. And then I waited, and I went back inside. And I waited for 5 minutes. And then I went out and looked out the backyard, and I was like, Mom, where are the dogs? And then I know it was bad. And I thought I was so brilliant. But let me tell you how much I committed, which is how I became such a great actor.
Of course, yes.
No, but like I literally I went out and I looked at like, Mom, the gate's open. We have to look for the dogs. And I while they were looking around, I ran out into the street and started walking down around the neighborhood and down into the back cul-de-sac, committing to the bit so much that everyone was freaking out. And then Mom came by in the car 15 minutes later. She's like, Andrew, how did they get in the shed? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mom. What do you mean? And she's like, Andrew, they were in the shed. And I was just like, it was a prank. And I was not.
Yeah, you got in trouble.
Oh, I got in big trouble. Yeah. I don't remember what I got in trouble, but I knew that was a line that we did not cross ever again. So yeah, it's it. And looking back at it now, I'm just like, why did I think that would be funny?
I mean, it's a fun thing of going, I know something that everyone else doesn't know. Yeah. But it's also slightly cruel in that way, where you're like, I know everything is okay, but everyone else isn't. It's so I'm above.
That power trip. Yeah. That you're like, I really know what everything else is going on and no one else does. Which, to get that now, I just be a dungeon master protection the traps.
There's a trap door on the floor. What does it do?
No one will ever know about it. But all that to be said, it is one of those things where it's just sometimes the thought of the prank is funny, but then the reality of it really just narrows down to it's not as funny as you think it is. Yeah. And so, anyways, that was the 2 things I wanted to talk about for that one. Is there anything else that you had for pranks that just did not go the way as planned?
I think it was more on the side of making sure that whatever pranks you're doing are mutual. If you know that they have never really liked that prank before, they've really never enjoyed it, don't do it. Yeah. I know there's channels online where people do pranks against each other, but it's usually they're all excited to do those pranks. Well, they're all in on it.
And that's the thing, is it's a lot of time, and I even had this conversation with my kids the other day, because there's a YouTuber that they were watching. I don't remember what it was, but it's clearly geared towards kids. Yeah. And it was it was all a prank war, and they were all just they're living in this big house, and they're all doing pranks against each other, and it's clearly what the channel is for, and I get that. But it's very obvious by watching, when you take a step back, that everyone knows what's going to happen. Yeah. or if they don't, it's a very small prank that has no like bad outcome.
Yes.
That they're prepared for. And so it's one of those things where it's like, don't just copy. That's like another thing too, is like, don't just copy things you see online because you think it's going to be funny.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't pick up any of those. Like I didn't pick a story where like that's something that happens, but I've heard of horror stories like that where they tried to copy something that happened online and it went terribly wrong.
Yeah.
And so
those are things that are different. Like, you can't just go over and do mean things to people and expect them to be okay with it. You also need to make sure that everyone's in on the joke, because if they're not in on the joke, honestly, you're just being mean.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many things before. You're just bullying
slips
people.
into bullying. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not great at all.
But all right. Well, that is our first story, I think. So what do you have for me, sir?
Okay, I have a slightly longer one for you.
I was waiting for I have nothing for you. So, prank. Right. Everyone's be like, we're done.
Yes.
Everyone's like, we're done with you guys. Shut up, both of you.
But this story is kind of about pets as well. That's why I was also like, Andrew.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. You might be yelled at a little
Just
bit online for that.
Just a reminder, I was only 7 or 8 years old.
That's fair.
I was a child.
That is fair.
And I look back at it now and realize I was stupid.
Before we hop into the next story, I just want to give a trigger warning towards potential animals being in danger, and also potential emotional manipulation. So just if you don't want to listen to a story that has that kind of content in it, just skip over to the next one and follow it up from there.
Yeah, sounds good.
This story is, am I the picklefoot for yelling at my husband, then leaving him at the clinic after his prank?
And there's pets involved. All right, let's hear it out.
There's pets involved. Okay.
Let's hear it out.
Me, female 28, and my husband, male 34, have been married for a year. Before I met him, I got a dog named Ollie, a German Shepherd, that was originally my sister's, but she passed away, and I immediately took him to live with me. My husband adores Ollie and sometimes jokes that he's married to me only because of Ollie. He likes making jokes and doing pranks, but some of them are downright nasty. He'd always get me worried by lying, saying Ollie ran off when he was hiding him in a place I didn't know about. See, that's the little part there. He knows how much worried and stressed out those pranks make me. But he says my reaction is priceless and worth the yelling/lashing afterwards. Ollie needed to be taken to the veterinary clinic for a checkup. My husband said he'd handle it. During this second visit to get the results, I received a call from my husband and his voice sounded like he wasn't okay. I asked what was wrong.
Where this is going. Go ahead. Keep going. Oh, no, don't do what I think you're going to do, buddy.
Yep. I asked what was wrong. I got really worried after he said it was about Ollie. I was starting to shake and I kept asking what was going on, and he told me that Ollie's been diagnosed with cancer. He said he wanted me to come over to the clinic as soon as possible because Ollie was with the vet. I couldn't stand. I started asking, is that why Ollie had lost weight lately? And such. I rushed to the clinic and found my husband standing near the entrance with Ollie. First thing I noticed was him laughing hysterically, telling me that I really bought into his lie. Yep, it was just a joke. I was confused. He said that it was just a prank and Ollie is perfectly healthy and handed me the results to check. After I checked, I lost it. I lashed out at him. Not gonna lie, I called him awful names and his face suddenly turned red like he didn't expect me to react that way. He argued that I made it a big deal, obviously, and was being mean to him over a prank that didn't even last an hour. I kept lashing out. I didn't give him a chance to keep talking, and I took Ollie and the keys, then I left. I arrived to the clinic in a taxi, so I left him at the clinic while me and Ollie went home by the car. So yeah, she went home, took the dog, left him without a vehicle. Because she didn't use a vehicle. She had
to get a taxi.
Yeah, because she didn't have a car. 3 hours later, he came back and was upset. He usually laughs, even in serious situations, but this time he didn't. He argued that I shouldn't have left him like that and that I overreacted. He said he was trying to make good memories to look back on and laugh at, but I was unnecessarily overreacting. He stopped talking after that. Now, here's a little extra piece towards it.
Sorry, I'm flabbergasted.
Yeah, it's
but
kind of
oh
dark.
my gosh. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
So I said, just to kind of give you an idea, just wanted to mention that this started months after his father's passing. His family said he never mentions his dead nor keeps anything out of his, although they were very close. I never met his father, but they told me he wasn't suffering from anything and his death was sudden, and my husband had a hard time processing it. This could be the reason for his behavior. So just adding in there that she thinks that there might be other things going on.
Okay.
But is she the picklefoot for losing it on her husband?
No. I don't have to put any more thought into it than that. No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Okay. There's so many layers to this story.
Yeah.
Because the first layer is that you joked about her dog that she got from her sister who passed away, which if you listen to previous episodes, call back to the siblings episode, you would know, as I am also someone who has lost a sibling. And if I had my brother's dog and someone had made a joke about them having cancer, I would have punted them. Not that I'm condoning violence.
We're not condoning violence on here.
But I don't know what I would do. That's the thing. I was like, I don't know what I would do in that situation. And I'm so glad to hear that she got a taxi, because I was like, if she drove over there in that heightened state of like, you could have gotten into a car accident. You could have done all of these other terrible things accidentally in that heightened emotional state. Mm-hmm. So all that to be said, husband, definitely the pick up, like, no question in my mind. You cannot, like, health is not something we joke about.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's the health of our pets. Mm-hmm. And just like, I cannot imagine getting that. Yeah, I'm mad. Like, honestly, like, that, this is probably the most heated I felt from a story, just because it's like, you don't do that to someone.
Yes.
To their dog, their sister's dog that they took over because their sister died, and then you're gonna choke. And like, I understand that they're adding the context that his father passed away, and I appreciate that to some extent, but just, and like we've talked about before, I think just because it explains the behavior, possibly explains the behavior, does not excuse the behavior.
No.
In any capacity.
Yeah.
So I just, that's really where I'm at with it. Just downright picklefoot. Don't do that. I just don't do that.
Yeah. When I was reading it as well, our family had a German Shepherd when we were growing up. They sadly passed away. Yeah. But with that pet, we did get some information. Of course, with German Shepherds, they are known to have issues with their hips as they get older.
Yeah.
So when we got that information of it, it was kind of complicated in our family. Just what do we do? With, humans, generally, if you have something that's complicated with you, with like your bones or something like that, there is a lot more medical science that can go over and support you, because we have a lot more information about it. Because in some ways, it's a lot more important for us.
We've spent a lot more time studying it than we have,
exactly,
like the veterinary sciences.
For a lot of pets, generally, if they are having certain issues, like their kidneys are having issues or their hips are going up, there's not much you can do, especially with cancer. Sometimes cancer goes a little bit faster in animals than it does in humans. So like when you get those diagnoses, in some ways it's like, okay, make them comfortable and you prepare for your last weeks, months, or days with these animals. It's
a big unknown box of like, what is going to happen over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things that you don't joke about, like, in any capacity.
No.
And
the other side of it too, once you realize, I get the joke side of it, right? It seems like he does this often. He likes to make these jokes. She knows that he likes to make those jokes. And in some ways it's like, okay, at a certain point you should really kind of double check. Maybe he's faking right now. And even he was surprised. It's like, I can't believe that you actually believed me and that I was saying it. That said, when he realized that she was not happy, that this was different, that something was wrong,
absolutely.
It's more like, instead of going, hey, it was just a joke, it was just a joke, that doesn't fix it.
No.
Their emotions are real.
You don't joke about that stuff.
No. And so I feel like he should have slowed down, realized that she was going through something, and been a good husband and go, okay, this is different than I expected. first apologize in that case. Like, he's absolutely the picklefoot, but apologize, say, I didn't know you would be affected in this way. I am so sorry. Is there some way I can make this
Take
right?
ownership of it. That's the thing. Yeah. It's like, it's the trying to shift blame. It's the trying to push it off. It's all those other, it's like, that's not when you make that mistake. And that's the thing. Like, I do remember after that incident occurred with my dogs that I hid and like scared my family, it says like I was making up for it for a long time. But you don't, that's the thing too, is like how is he or how is she ever going to be able to trust him in any capacity?
Back to the original, like the first story that you told me, where she potentially, the daughter didn't trust the dad because of how many times that he had done this. Same thing with his husband. I can't trust that if my husband is seemingly upset about our dog, that he's telling the truth.
Yeah. And clearly he's decent at acting because she fell for it, which it's hard to say because it's like, at the end of the day, pranks should be something that like, and I think it's the same thing with like jokes and humor. Everyone should be able to laugh at it at the end of the day. And if it's something that everyone doesn't laugh at, you have failed. And like, and that's just the end of it.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I think he was just doing it for that reaction. And once he didn't get the reaction he wanted, he doubled down, which is really just going to spell out problems for the rest of the marriage if he doesn't start learning that.
You want to get to some comments
let's
on
hear
here?
some comments. Let's hear some other people because I'm heated and I want to hear other people probably also be just as heated as I am.
That's fair. One of the top comments that are here is, "You're not the picklefoot. This isn't a prank. This is abuse." Now, I don't know if it's fully in that way, but I agree it is some sort of...
At the very least, it's emotional manipulation.
Yeah, absolutely. He wanted you to feel like your beloved dog was dying for his amusement. He laughed at your pain. Even him hiding the dog and saying he ran away is unbelievably cruel.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. But yeah, as I said, I was an 8-year-old kid who was learning.
Kid, which I forgive you
for that.
Not a
34, 33-year-old adult.
Yeah. His words aside, I think he's jealous of Ollie. I don't know. He did say a lot of that before, where he's like only staying for Ollie. Forget leaving him at the clinic. You should consider leaving his lying, cruel self entirely. And then they said, "Thanks for the awards, folks," forwarding all the good vibes to the original poster and Ollie. And the original poster actually responded.
Oh,
to
good.
this. Yeah.
Okay.
They said, "Yes, you're right. I don't know why he keeps joking about serious stuff like that. He once lied to his friend group about their friend dying overseas."
Are you...
Yeah, this is not the first time. Half of the group isn't talking to him anymore because he lied about their close friend's death. It scared them and it was highly inappropriate, but he kept trying to justify that it was just a prank. I don't know why he thinks any of this is okay. I've already warned him and told him not to get Ollie involved in this pranks, but it took me to lose my temper to get him to realize that what he's doing was unacceptable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. Like, no, this person at this point, and here's the other thing that's really important to me. This guy's 34 years old.
Yeah.
You should know better at that point in time. If he was
should.
20, I would maybe give him the benefit of the doubt. But at 34 years old, no. Absolutely not.
Yeah, and then what frustrated me the most about all of this is she's told him that she doesn't like this, yet he has told her that regardless of whether she likes it or not, he likes her getting upset.
He likes the reaction he gets from it, which is, I don't want to say the thing that I want to say, but also like...
I'd say we're getting closer to the deviled egg
honestly,
category.
let's put him in the deviled egg category because it's like you don't... Knowing, especially the whole thing about lying about one of their friends dying overseas.
Yes.
Like that, no. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
No.
You're playing around with those things, and then no one can trust you anymore. Also, it seems like regardless of whether people are happy with the joke or not, he's okay with it. He's like, it's just a prank. If you guys don't want to talk to me anymore because of it, I don't care.
Yeah.
You guys should get over it. It's like, at a certain point, you've got to realize that, well, you might be enjoying these pranks, and you might be enjoying how people are reacting. They're not having fun. Yeah, no one's having fun around you.
There's a personality disorder that derives thrill and enjoyment out of causing other people discomfort. I'm not a professional to diagnose something like that, but raises a lot of red flags for OP. She needs to get out of that.
Absolutely.
Like, respectfully. I know they're married and, like, divorce is a chaotic topic, but I definitely think this falls into, like, that emotional abuse. Like, vein. That, oh, gosh.
Yeah. And if anyone is deriving enjoyment and amusement from you being upset, there's one side of like you being shocked or surprised or something like that, but consistently going, I enjoy watching you be upset. Like, even if I was doing a prank, I would want at the end of it everyone to be able to laugh. That's what I'm looking for in the enjoyment, is us having like a laughing part of it. He did say at the end of it that he's trying to make memories for us to look back on and laugh at in the future.
You're wanting traumatic memories? Like, that's what you're creating is trauma. Like, respectfully, they're not going to, every time they get a phone call from you now, they're never going to believe you. I tell my kids all the time, that's why I'm such a big advocate for being honest with me. Or honest, like choosing honesty, because it's like that's what's so important about it. It's like, yes, you might hurt my feelings. Yes, you might like in this moment when you're lying about something like that. You are creating a lack of trust in me for anything that you tell me in the future. And so it's like you can't just do that. Like there are consequences, and like for kids, I understand because we're learning, we're growing, we're developing. A 34-year-old adult. I'm sorry, I'm really mad.
You're good.
Like a 34-year-old adult. That's
insane.
Deviled egg.
Yes, deviled egg. So I'd say if you're doing a prank, and at the end of it, everyone, like immediately at the end of the prank, everyone is not laughing, that's not a prank.
No.
That's just you being mean. You might have messed up. I'm not going to say you did it on purpose. Yeah. You're being a deviled egg at that point. Just apologize. Don't double down on it. Don't go, oh, well, it's just a prank. What do you do? Apologize. It's okay. You messed up. And just get also that if everyone's upset, it's not funny. I don't care what you think. I don't care how you feel. If not everyone who was involved in it can walk away going, well, that was a nice, interesting thing and I had fun with it, it's not a good prank. And you shouldn't be doing those.
I'm heated. I'm heated.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I think it's my turn to make you upset because I think we have time for one more story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So, am I the picklefoot for cutting all contact with my family because of a prank?
Depends on how bad that prank is.
Yeah. So I will give a trigger warning at the very beginning. We're going to talk about some emotional abuse.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about bullying.
Ooh. Yeah. By family members.
By family members.
That's the worst kind.
Yup. So this actually comes from the subreddit Best of Redditor Updates, but was originally posted on Am I the Picklefoot? Okay. So I'm just here with here's an update after it. So, I have posted a story on here before, and I got some pretty good advice, so please help. Here's what happened. I, 27 female, have always had a complicated relationship with my family. They've always been the type of people who think any joke is fine as long as someone laughs, no matter who gets hurt. Over the years, I've tried to brush it off and not let it bother me too much, but this time, they crossed a line I can't ignore. Recently, I achieved something big in my life. I bought my first home after saving for 3 years. It's something I worked incredibly hard for, sacrificing vacations, nights out, and basically anything extra to make it happen. I was beyond proud of myself and excited to finally have a place to call my own. Naturally, I wanted to share this milestone with my family, even though our relationship has always been rocky. A few weeks ago, we had a family dinner to celebrate my new home. Everything seemed fine at first. They congratulated me, asked about the house, and seemed genuinely happy for me. But halfway through the night, my brother, 30 male, and sister, 25 female, handed me an envelope. They said it was a surprise, quote-unquote, to help me with my house. I opened it, and inside was what looked like a legal notice, stating that my house purchase had been canceled because of a clerical error, and that it was now being sold to someone else. It even had official-looking letterhead, my name, and details about the house. I was in complete shock.
Wait, they were in the house when they handed her this?
That's the thing. I read that and I thought that for the first... I think it was like family dinner at a different family's house. I might be wrong. Let me double check. Yeah, it just says we had family dinner to celebrate my new home.
Okay.
And they asked me about the house. So I'm assuming if they asked about the house, they hadn't seen it yet.
Oh.
So everyone around the table started laughing, and my brother yelled, "Gotcha." Turns out they had faked the letter and thought it would be hilarious to see my reaction. I burst into tears, which only made them laugh harder.
No.
They even recorded the whole thing on their phones to post on social media. Yep, it's continuing.
Yeah.
When I finally managed to speak, I told them how cruel this was. Buying this house was the biggest thing I'd ever done, and they turned it into a joke at my expense. Their response: "You're so sensitive. It was just a prank. Lighten up." I left the dinner early, completely heartbroken. A few days later, I decided I'd had enough. This wasn't the first time they pulled a prank, quote unquote, prank like this. Over the years, they've humiliated me countless times, once ruining a job interview outfit by accidentally spilling coffee on it. Another time pretending to lose my dog just to see me panic. Why is there a theme? Why is there a theme for me?
Yeah, everyone likes to do those jokes.
I don't get it.
I don't like it.
It says the person who did it at 8 years old. I can't. I feel really dumb now.
No, you're good.
Oh, gosh. I cut off all contact. I didn't make a scene. I just stopped responding to messages, blocked them on social media, and declined invites to family events. Now I'm getting guilt-tripping messages from extended family, saying I'm being selfish and tearing the family apart. My mom even left me a voicemail, crying about how much she misses me and begging me to come back. But I can't bring myself to forgive them. This prank felt like the final straw, and I don't see how I can trust them again. So Reddit, am I the picklefoot for cutting my family off over this prank?
I want to say no, she is not the picklefoot.
Yeah, right? I feel confidently the answer is no.
The answer is no. That said, there is a little bit of a nuance here.
Absolutely.
Some families like to play these kinds of jokes. I've heard of this before, where there's one person that is easiest to prank, right? And families that generally like to prank often, they find that person who is easiest to prank, and they just like to just go all in, because they might be more gullible, or they might not be as good at telling if people are lying or something like that. It's like, okay, we're always going to go and make sure that they have it. It seems like everyone else in the family is having a good time. They're all laughing, except her.
Yeah.
Now, for this situation, yes, you are not the picklefoot at all for going over and cutting them off after they have done this over and over and over again, despite you telling them to stop.
Yeah.
In that same way, it's like they are known to make these kinds of jokes. They are known to do these kinds of things. When they're giving you these letters, like you're kind of saying before, at a certain point, you're like, how can I trust them about anything? Especially if they're giving me a serious letter or something like that. Like, I can't. I think it's more hurtful that they should have known that this was too serious of a thing to play around with, that it's not funny.
No.
Especially if they're all going in and saying, yeah, this is the story, and they came up with a whole reason why they would have the letter and that this house wasn't real. It's like, come on. And then once she started crying, back to the other story.
Yeah.
If they are reacting in a way that it isn't pleasant, I don't agree with the whole idea of if someone laughs, it's a joke, it's funny, it's good. No. Everyone
has to think it's funny. Yeah.
If one person is crying, it's not funny.
No.
If two people are crying, it's even less funny towards there. You should allow everyone to be able to have fun with it. And if not everyone's having fun with it, you messed up.
Yeah. And I think it's hard too, because it's like, as someone was homeschooled, we were around our siblings all the time. And I do notice that it is like the siblings that it seems like ganged up to create this, and everyone else is laughing about it.
Yeah.
So like there would be times where like we would do little prank wars or things like that. And like two of us would team up against another one and things like that. But at some point in time, it gets to a point where enough is enough.
Yeah.
Or you're going too far. Like, it's one thing, and this is something that happened in our house. It's one thing when you add salt to someone's juice. It's another thing when you add a laxative to someone's juice, and you think you're being funny. And that is a line that gets crossed, because you're actually giving someone medicine or things like that, and that's going to negatively affect them and thinking it's funny.
Yeah.
Or, you know, giving someone who is expecting to have some kind of food, and all of a sudden it's something completely different. That like there's moments where it goes too far, and it's very clear that these siblings have crossed the line way too often. And like the other thing too is talking about, it's like ruining the interview outfit, right? Like that's something that affects your livelihood. That's something that like affects your job. I read another story I was debating whether or not I was going to put it, but basically someone wrote was it I was just trying to do a funny prank where my friend was in the middle of this very serious interview, but I know they would be, so I set an alarm that was really loud and obnoxious to go off in the middle of it. I'm like, that's not a funny prank.
No.
That's literally trying to sabotage their job interview. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and that's what I think, and again, I'm reading into it a little bit, but I think in this initial thing, I think they were trying to tear her down a peg.
Yes.
Because as I am someone who's also approaching 50 and will probably never be able to afford a house, I too would be jealous if my younger sibling was like, hey, I bought a house. Jealous to an extent, proud, but also I wish I could do that myself. Which I've had a few friends who don't have the best relationship with their parents, and a lot of times it does come from that mentality of I've become successful or I've done these things, and then that the rest of the family tries to drag them down kind of thing. And it's that's not what we should be doing as family. We should be supporting, we should be uplifting. And like we said, and I feel like the through line through this is going to be, if everyone's not laughing at the prank, it's not a funny prank.
No. And with it, like I was talking about before, when you have that certain sibling or a certain person in the group that's always getting the prank, it might be fun for everyone else, but even in friend groups where I've been in before where there's that certain person that's there, I always try to go over and check in on that, even if they're laughing too. Hey, are you okay? Is everything all right? Because sometimes even if everyone's still laughing and there's a person that just gets the prank every single time, it's sometimes they're doing it just because they want to be a part of the crew, especially if you're related to these people. It's okay, everyone else is laughing. My entire family is going along with it. Yes, it's at my expense, but am I going to make a big deal of it?
Right. And does that make, I don't want to be the person that ruins the vibe, but it's no, if it's hurtful to you, they shouldn't have done it in the first place.
And then often those times, if you do speak up, which I've gotten frustrated with other people before, it's oh, you're being very sensitive.
Yo, you're so sensitive. It's just a prank.
It's just a joke. They were just trying to have fun. It's no. After a while, it gets tiresome, and I am allowed to be upset if someone did something mean to me, even as a prank that I didn't like.
Yeah.
At a certain point, it's okay, guys, you got to stop.
Yeah. Well, let's also talk about the going no contact thing, because that's a big topic in this day and age. I think about a lot of parents complaining about their kids going no contact with them, or people choosing to go non-contact with your parents. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that goes into that. Yeah. Because it's I think we can both acknowledge neither one of us are non-contact with our parents, but I have a friend who is non-contact with their parents. I have another friend who's thinking about doing it, things like that, because there is that reality of or not even talking their family, but their whole family. And it's because there is a reality of recognizing that these people are not going to respect you and have had the opportunity to do so, and you have communicated clearly with them that you're not comfortable with this, and they continue to do it.
Yeah.
And at that moment in time, it is we've talked before about boundaries, and we talked before about setting those expectations. She made those expectations very clear, and for them to be we're not doing that. I think going no contact, with the possibility of in the future, if the family recognizes what they've done and are willing to work and move forward with it, or they're willing to work on trying to rebuild that relationship, I think is very fair.
Yeah. I mean, in that situation too, she is upset. She has told them before that she doesn't want them to do it anymore. They are recording her as she sobs at a table. If I saw that video, I'd be this isn't funny.
No.
She's crying over something that was very serious to her. If you want to go no contact after someone has literally humiliated you and potentially posted it online, or at least captured the moment of humiliation to look back on and be that was hilarious, I don't think they deserve to have you in their lives.
Yeah.
They're the pickle feet in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I said we're going to need some pickle feet. So there is an update, a pretty decent update, actually. So I wanted to get your initial thoughts about the original post, because OP does update a little bit later. And it's interesting because it's actually around December of last year when they updated this.
Does she prank them back?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. We don't fight fire with fire.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Just kidding. I mean, there's some great times when that happens, but she does provide an edit. Thank you all for your advice and support. I wanted to make provide an update because things have escalated in ways I never expected. Yep. After I went no contact with my family, I thought they'd eventually accept my decision and move on, but that hasn't been the case. For the past few weeks, my brother and sister have been trying to get me to see the funny side, in quotes, of their prank. They've shown up at my house uninvited multiple times, banging on the door and demanding to talk to me. At first, I ignored them, but then it became clear that they weren't going to stop. One evening, I caught them standing outside my house with their phones out, recording themselves while yelling things like, "She can't take a joke," and "Let's see how long she can hide." It felt like harassment at that point, and instead of an attempt to reconcile.
Yeah, that's just harassment.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guess what she does? Well, there's actually one more thing that happens before that. The final straw came when I discovered my car had been egged overnight. I looked at my security camera, which caught my brother and sister doing the deed. I confronted them through text, telling them they'd crossed a line and need to stop. Their response? "You're so dramatic. You're going to laugh about this one day." At this point, I realized I couldn't handle this on my own. I went to the police and filed a report for harassment. They took my statement, reviewed the footage from my security camera, and agreed that this behavior was unacceptable. My siblings were contacted and warned to stay away from me. Their reaction? More mocking messages, calling me a snitch and accusing me of tearing the family apart. Some of my extended family are siding with him, saying I should have talked it out instead of involving the police. But others, especially those who have seen the footage, are horrified and fully support my decision. I feel a mix of relief and sadness. It's hard to accept that my own family could treat me this way, but I also feel safer knowing that I've taken steps to protect myself. I'm focusing on building a new life in my home and surrounding myself with people who respect and support me. To anyone out there struggling with toxic family dynamics, you're not alone, and it's okay to set boundaries to protect your peace. Thank you for giving me the strength to stand up for myself. And she does a little heart emoji at the end of it.
That is so sad. That is extremely sad.
What the siblings did, not her finding inner peace and surrounding herself with. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, the inner peace is great. Wonderful.
Yes.
Happy for you. What their siblings did, it's just, that's horrible.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's just like, you've gone way over that line. She's like, it crossed the line. No, it crossed the line when they made fun of her and humiliated her at the table as she was crying. Yeah. It crossed the line when they were doing all these jokes before. But it is at a certain point where it's like, they don't know how to stop.
Yeah.
Which is a problem on their part. Like, what's wrong with you at the point when she's not talking to you? It's not funny. Leave her alone. If she's not laughing about it, you can't force someone to think it's funny. You're just being horrible.
Just bullying.
Yeah.
At that point in time.
And it's like, for what reason? Because you feel that you deserve to have her laugh at the joke that you made at her expense because you feel bad about it?
Well, that's and I think what it really comes down to is I think the siblings are starting to feel bad about it, but instead of allowing themselves to acknowledge that they're the ones at fault, they have to make her find the joke funny so that they can then not feel bad about themselves anymore.
Yeah, and I've heard this or some very similar thing from like toxic boyfriends in that way, where or girlfriends, partners, whatever, that they go over and they're like, oh, it's funny. I said something rude to you or I did something mean to you. It's funny. Just get over it, as like a reason for what they're doing to be okay. It's like, I realize it was mean. I realize that you didn't like it. I realize that I probably shouldn't have said it, but I'm going to put it under the guise of it was a joke. It was a prank. I didn't mean it. You should get over it. This is going to the extent where it's like, hey, you're being silly, you're being funny, as we continue to do things that are offensive, as we continue to do things outside your house, recording ourselves yelling things at you, egging your car, being around when you don't want us to be around just because we feel it's funny. Yeah. That's horrible. And if like I was dealing with that situation with my siblings doing something like that, it's like, this is beyond like a family spat or a family like confusion. They are being offensive towards me after I have told them to stop. Now, I know some of the extended family members are going, you should speak to them. You should slow down and have like this conversation. I would not trust them. Yeah. Kind of like what we were talking about before, where like if you told me that my dog was potentially, you know, having some issues, and then later on we're like, oh, there's a joke, like this is a silly type thing, I can't trust you. there is nothing that I can trust you about in that situation. So I'm not going to trust myself to go over and have an adult conversation with you about what you're doing, because I know you're not acting like an adult outside of this.
Yeah.
They might try to do another prank if I go over and start talking to them. So the easiest and simplest way is to say, you have not acted mature or acted your age the entire time I've given you these chances.
25 and 30.
This is it.
Yeah.
Thank you for the times that you've given me that were positive, but I don't trust you anymore. And until I feel comfortable enough to actually open that door again, it's staying shut and locked.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's frustrating.
Yep. So there aren't really any direct comments from the post that I have, because it's all like best friend or update stuff.
Yeah.
So they're responding to the person who posted this, so not the OP or anything like that. But it's one of those things where it's just like, this is proof of like the dangers of taking pranks too far and not allowing yourself to acknowledge that, hey, we have to recognize the responsibility that trying to pull one over on someone can have.
Yeah.
And there's like, the sad reality is, in preparing for this episode, I read so many prank stories where it was just like, it made me sick to my stomach, because people doing things and using it's a prank.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking like abuse. I'm talking about like hurting people. I'm talking like someone getting into like fist fights and things like that. And it's just like, we can't use that as a buffer. You can't make excuses for your behavior under the guise of, oh, I think it's funny. It's like, okay, so you're gonna, try and hijack the maid of honor speech at a wedding and like say, oh, it's just a joke, when I'm really trying to get with the groom.
Yeah,
call
Jake
back.
from State Farm.
Jake from State Farm.
Good callback.
But I don't know. It's hard. And that's one of the things like why I'm kind of really now as an adult just kind of like about pranks. Mm-hmm. Because there aren't really a lot of great pranks. The best pranks are going to be the ones where it was like, oh, I only got you this card for your birthday. I'm so sorry. And inside the card, it's like a thing. Okay, let's talk about a good prank.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a great prank that my parents pulled. And I was actually really impressed with this. So I think it was my 10th or 11th birthday, and we were still up in the Panhandle at this point in time. And I remember we had gotten a Wii, and one of the games that I had wanted to get on the Wii for so long was The Force Unleashed.
Yep.
Awesome game. If you've not played it, it's janky nowadays with all the updated graphics, but it was such a cool concept.
It's an incredible game. It
and
really
especially on the Wii, where they had like all of the additional like hand stuff that you could do for the like lightsaber. It was so cool at the time. But I had wanted that game, and when I got it, I for my birthday, I remember opening it and seeing like pulling off the wrapping paper, and it was The Force Unleashed, and I was like, The Force Unleashed, yes! And then I opened it, and inside of it, because I was like, I noticed it was not like sealed, and so I was like, oh, maybe they got it used. So I was like, I saw it, I was like, oh, it's unwrapped, and I opened it. Inside was an iPod Touch. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. And that's the thing. It's like, so I opened that and I screamed my head off. I was so excited because it was just like, that's the best kind of prank.
Yeah, but it's more like a surprise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a prank or a surprise. Like, that's the kind of good way to do it, though. It's like, oh, I thought this was going to be one thing. Surprise, it's something else. Yeah. Like, it hits more of that vein, which I feel like surprises are just good pranks, in my opinion. Yeah. But all that to be said, that's how you do something like that, right? It's like, oh, you think you were getting this one thing that you really wanted? Well, surprise, you got this thing that you actually really wanted a lot more. And like, all of those other things. Yeah. So that's where I think if you're going to prank someone, that's the direction you should go. Yeah. I've had someone be like, or my other favorite one that I got, and it was really good actually. It was like a birthday card, and it was like, it literally looked like it had like a $500 bill or a $100 bill in it. Yeah. And then like you opened it and it was like a gift card for like $20 to the movies. And I'm like, that's funny. I love silly. It. Like those are silly. It's still a gift. You're still getting something out of it. It's just obviously like tricks your expectations and things like that. Those are the fun ones. Like, and that's the thing is, it's like, it should be something that everyone can feel good about in the end. Yeah. And these pranks have not been that in any capacity.
No, I think it's a good prank. Just trying to think through it, and maybe I'll change my mind later on. But I think a good prank is kind of the same thing, where you get something. You never take away from the person's life in what you're doing with this prank. So if you're giving them a frustration or something like that, always giving them a surprise afterwards that's even bigger or better than it was before. Kind of like when you're talking about like the game there. If you open up the package and they're like, oh, there's nothing in there.
Yeah, right.
There's
like
no
they
game.
had just bought me the game. That would have been so upsetting.
Mm-hmm. It's just like, and there's nothing, there's no game. So you're like, oh, okay, well, that's not great. Instead, they said, okay.
Or some coal in a ring box.
Yeah, yes. So like a rock in a ring box there. They did give us the rock in the ring box, but they also gave us more stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like a surprise there. The ring box was really nice actually too. And so it's like, you still gave us something.
Yeah.
It would be different if they were like, okay,
that's all I get.
I'm taking all of your things. All the gifts you already got, I'm taking them over and it's a prank. That's not fun. That's not funny.
No.
And so if you're giving something to them, if you're allowing them to experience something that's bigger than what they currently have, that's okay. I don't like it when people take away. And there are some times when I feel like it's worthwhile. At the camp I used to work at, they had like shaving cream wars and things like that. So for the shaving cream war, of course, they would go over and they just have fun with the shaving cream. If you've never known what it is, basically everyone goes out into a field or a large area with shaving cream cans and they just basically spray.
It's like silly string.
Yeah,
but
silly string.
Except it is better for the environment.
And then they just spray it on people. So a lot of the kids were, of course, just filling their hands with this cream and then just like smashing it into other people's faces. We had to tell them to stop because it's funny to smash shaving cream on people's faces. Oftentimes,
the hand
if you're
doesn't
tired,
normally stop, and it kind of hits the nose. Yes,
people
so we
were just
had the
slapping
same
each
issue.
other in the face. I kind of got away with it because I was a videographer there. So I was like, you can't get the stuff on my camera. I'm going to be around and doing stuff, but like, please don't. We did have a lot of people that were crying because, you get smashed in the face by another kid with shaving cream. It's upsetting. Also, some of the people had nicer outfits. Now, in that certain
you were
point too,
told before you should not have wore the nice outfit. That's on you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna say that one. It's like that's a learning opportunity there.
Yes, they expected that they were not going to get all messy. It's like you're in a shaving cream war. You're gonna get messy. That's how it kind of works. And so at that point, I'm like, if everyone has already agreed that this is what's going to happen, even if it's negatively affecting you, it's fun because also you get to give shaving cream back to them.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, whenever kids were little, it was like, I can't believe they got shaving cream on me. It's like,
okay, well, get them back.
Get them back. And they're like, oh, you can go and...
Without hitting them with your hands.
Without hitting them with the hands. You can spray them with the same stuff. It's okay.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the fun way. Otherwise, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's not great at all. I think the theme throughout, like you're kind of saying, is people trying to cover up their awful behavior by saying it's a prank.
Yeah.
Being mean isn't funny, regardless of whether you're trying to do it for a fun thing or have a joke. If at the end of it, everyone involved isn't laughing or finding it funny, it's not funny.
Yeah. Find a better use of your time.
Yeah.
Clearly you're creative. So use that creativity to do something better.
Yeah.
Think about like a great housewarming gift for them or something like crazy like that. Like that's the thing is it's like some of these pranks, I don't want to say are creative because like some of them are very stupid, but like the work that they went into to create the fake letter.
Yeah.
Like that's not anything to sneeze at.
Yeah, it's great.
So it's just like, just be better. Just be better, people.
Just
be
people.
better.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But we're appreciative to all those people who are watching or listening to this podcast. We assume you are all great individuals who would
Definitely
never
no
do pranks
pranksters.
like that to those individuals. But if you want to tell us about a prank that you experienced, we would love to hear it. We have a email address, which is
shelteredsages@gmail.com.
Yeah, please.
Yep. You also can, if you're feeling interested in continuing to see whenever we release new episodes, we have that little subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening on Spotify, Google Podcast,
Apple Podcasts,
any of the other podcasting places. You can leave a review, follow. Most of them also let you leave a comment. So we'd love to hear from you if you're anything that you're interested in.
Yeah.
And once we start getting some listener write-ins, we've got plans for follow-up episodes.
Absolutely.
So, Thank you so much for listening, though. And really, at the end of the day, like, I hope that you weren't pranked too bad on April Fools. Hope you didn't prank anyone too bad. But honestly, like, you know,
everyone's
sometimes
happy.
it's helpful to have that reflection and be like, yeah, maybe I went a little bit too far.
And if you did,
as I
it's
did when
okay.
I was 8-year-old.
Yes, but he apologized.
I did.
As if the listeners went a little too far, it's okay. Yeah. Apologize. Tell them that, you know, you're trying to be funny.
Recognize you have to rebuild trust.
Exactly.
But it's okay to say you messed up. And that's honestly, like, I don't want to get into another tangent.
you're good.
But at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is like, let your pride take the hit. Mm-hmm. Say that you're sorry.
Yeah.
Recognize that you need to work on it and move forward.
That's good.
And so that's what I want to end on. But
Absolutely.
Please, or not please, thank you for listening. And we hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.